How's it going, everyone? Trey Alexander here. Today we're going to be looking at unison bends. So unison bends are one of my favorite things you can do on guitar, and it's where you're taking one of the lower strings and bending it up to the same pitch that you're holding on the higher string. It's definitely got a really cool rock vibe, but you can use it in funk, you can use it in a bunch of different places. So we'll break apart a couple of those ideas and just let you hear them. But thank you guys so much for your support, and please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you guys would like to see. Awesome. Rock and roll. Okay, so let's break down some of these unison bends. So we're starting off in the key of C, and you see I'm bending this first one. So the idea of a unison bend is that I'm taking this note here and I'm bending it to C, but I'm also holding C with my first finger on the high E string. So on the B string, it's the 11th fret, and I'm bending up a whole step until it reaches the note C, which is the root. But I'm also holding my first finger down on this high E string. So it gives this really cool wobble while the note reaches pitch. So it's almost like when you're tuning and it's not quite in tune yet, if you're using like a 5th fret method, the note starts to kind of go dissonant on you, and it has this really cool effect. And you can actually start to hear a sub frequency that moves down. I don't know if it'll pick up through the amp here. I think you'll be able to hear it. But it's way cool, you know? And now each one of these unison bends has a different sound and a different feel. So now the important part to take note of here is that I'm using these 2 fingers to do this bend. So I got my 3rd finger, which is the main bending finger, but then I'm also supporting it with my 2nd finger. Now you'll notice when I do that, they kind of touch the string, muting it out. And I always tell students, you know, a good thing to think of when you're playing guitar is, you know, think of the whole Zen idea of living, right? For every note you play, there's 5 you don't, right? And that's might be one of the most important things I can tell you is in guitar playing, it's super important to make sure that we're aware of those other notes and how they sound, right? And you don't want to have a bunch of ghost notes or unwanted notes that are being accidentally hit all the time. Even when you're doing a simple bend, you know, something like, when I'm doing that, you'll notice my hand is kind of gripping the other notes. So it's important to take note of that stuff. You know, I think it's very often overlooked. Okay, so let's look at the unison bend. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my first finger on this high E string, and I'm taking my third finger on the B string 11th fret, and I'm going to slowly bend it until it reaches the next, till it reaches pitch. So the note I'm holding on the high E string is a C note, and the note I'm holding on the B string is a B flat note. And it's going to be bent up a whole step, and then it's going to reach the pitch, which is C. Okay, you hear how that's going? So such a cool sound. So let's break down what's going on there. So if I take my third finger alone and put it on that B string, it's not really going to have enough strength to give it that oomph, right? So what I do is I take my second finger and I plant it right behind that third finger, and that's going to help to support the bend and really give it strength, right? Now on the top string, I have my first finger here, and that's on the C note. So it's the 8th fret. So 8 and 11, 8 on the high E, 11 on the B string. And what you really want to do when you're first doing these is work on that support, right? So you have your thumb over here, which is giving you a leverage point, so you're bending up to your thumb. It's a wrist motion. And I'm very much being conscious, if you look at my right hand, of kind of muting out those lower strings so that you don't hear a bunch of noise as I bend that up. You want them to be front and center, right? The most important part. So has a really cool sound to it. So again, remember that it's really just the same note. It'd be just like going. If I do that with unisons, just has an awesome sound. So again, using those two fingers to really support that bend. And even that would be a good exercise, is to practice just whole step bends. And really get your pitch good there. So I used to do this for, probably an hour a day. It's just practice going to each individual note that I'm trying to hit and bending up, whether it's a half step or a whole step, into that note, and really being able to do it, without hearing the gradual movement up. So you can see I can do that without actually having to hear the gradual. And that comes from time, right? Many years playing, and it takes time to get the confidence of knowing where those pitches are. One of my favorite guitar players, Jeff Beck, does this all the time. And of course the guys after him, Michael Landau, Scott Henderson, Wayne Krantz, all those wonderful players. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you do. But they do a lot of pre-bend stuff where it's like... I also hear Sean Tubbs always talk about that kind of stuff where he's like... where he's been in a half step in and out of certain sequences, which is so stellar, man. What a great player he is. But you're getting the idea here. So again, it's taking those two fingers, supporting that bend, and we can move that shape then anywhere we want. And you see most players doing these unison bends on the high E and B, but you also see them going to the G and the B string as well. And it's changed its shape there a little bit because of the way the guitar is tuned in fourths. So on that string, it's tuned in thirds from the G to B instead of the normal fourths, which is the rest of the guitar. So if you're bending the 10th fret, you're going to hit a G if you do a whole step, right? And the G that you're going to hold here is on the 8th fret of the B string. So that sounds like this. But same rules apply, you know? But I guess really any kind of unison idea would be considered a unison bend. So if I bent here, I guess you hear that country twang in there a little bit, right? But that's considered a unison bend, right? So another idea of that, right? Doesn't quite sound right with all that delay, but but you're getting the idea, right? So another type of unison bend that's kind of cool and snazzy. So again, let's look at this one more time. I'm going to do it really slow. So I hope you get the idea of that. I hope you enjoy it. Again, you know, it comes down to being really accurate with the bend. So maybe work on those first. Really get used to bending up a whole step or a half step. That's our target pitch, right? And then it's going to get a little tricky when you start to put your first finger here, because you're used to doing the bend with all three fingers. Well, hopefully you are. And now you're going to be putting your first finger on the B string. So you're going to have to get used to that motion where these two fingers are going to now support this G string bend. And this first one's going to stay static. In other words, it does not bend. Same thing on the high E string and B string. I really hope you can hear that lower pitch dive, because it's one of the coolest things on guitar, you know? Awesome. So hope you guys enjoy that. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought and what else you might like to see. There's so many cool things to do, and now it's just going to be a matter of trying to find the time to make all these videos. I'm definitely excited for it, and really appreciate all the support from you guys, and looking forward to making a bunch of new content for you. Finally get everything up and working, and so this is gonna be killer. So thank you so much for watching, and please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys soon. Rock and roll.